all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together again, where we are convening and converging and finding a wonderful, soft space in the place of the Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit den. And to the brothers and sisters of the 12 tribes of the house of Israel, scattered abroad to the four winds of the earth, my continuous petitions and prayer for your care, safety, concern, peace, and happiness, as well as my brothers and sisters of the world, the melanated and Moors, the original man and children of God, the sovereigns and sojourners, the copper-colored, the colored, and people of color, the aboriginals and indigenous, the natives, Negroes, and niggas, the African Americans and blacks, the descendants of slaves, and those conquered and colonized. Oh yes, and we are blessed as we are able to reassemble once again in this zone of comfort and love and safety and peace. And we will reconvene at the knee of wisdom, where we shall continue with our evaluation of the holy brother prophets of the nation of Israel. And we are continuing tonight in the book of Daniel, chapter 5, where we will be reviewing the holy nation, the tribe of Judah that was carried away into captivity into the land of Babylon. And through the course of the previous episodes, we have seen the empire, the visions and prophecies of Emperor Nebuchadnezzar. And so we will now be visiting with Nebuchadnezzar's son, BELSHAZZAR, of the same kingdom of Babylon. And we shall be a witness to the next episode of the holy people's intermingling of history, as well as the divine prophecy and the power of the holy people. And we began. The book of Daniel, chapter 5, verse 1. Belshazzar, the king, made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In that same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed. He got scared, family, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. So family, whatever the king saw, it scared him so bad that his insides became loose and his knees began banging together. Verse 7. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his lords were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house, and the queen spoke and said, O king, live forever. Let not your thoughts trouble you, nor let your countenance be changed. There is a man in your kingdom, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods, and in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the king, I say, your father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams and showing of hard sentences and dissolving of doubts were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spoke and said unto Daniel, Are you that Daniel, which are of the children of the captivity of Judah, whom the king my father brought out of Jewry? I have even heard of you, that the spirit of the gods is in you, and that the light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in you. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, that they should read this writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof, but they cannot show the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of you, that you can make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, you shall be clothed with scarlet, and have a chain of gold about your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, Let your gifts be to yourself, and give your rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O you king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom, and majesty, and glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would, he slew, and whom he would kept alive, he kept alive, and whom he would set up, and whom he would put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed, and his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. And he was driven from the sons of man, and his heart was made like beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appoints over it whomsoever he will. And you, his son, Belshazzar, has not humbled your heart, though you knew all this, but have lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before you and your lords, your wives, and your concubines have drunk wine in them, and you have praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know. And the God in whose hand your breath is, and whose are all your ways, have you not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him. And this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Mean, tekel, upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mean means God has numbered your kingdom and finished it. Tekel means you are weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. Verse 31. And Darius, the Median, took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. All praises, family. All praises. And that was the book of Daniel, chapter 5. And we see that the son of Nebuchadnezzar, the emperor of Babylon, had preceded the throne and had the same pride that his father had and lifted up his heart in glory and was not humble before the Lord, even though he was a witness to his own father being stripped of the kingship and brought low like a beast. And in his pride, he ordered that his wicked heathen hands touch the vessels of gold and silver from the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. And the Lord numbered his rulership and divided the kingdom for the next transition to the kingdoms of earth that were proclaimed and interpreted by Daniel in the previous chapters. And so we see where the end of the Babylonian Empire begins and the beginning of the Persians and Medes. And in the midst of this transition and this new kingdom being established are the holy children of the tribe of Judah, the children of Jerusalem, in the midst of the Babylonian Empire going into the Persian and Medes. And just before, thus and so, Holy Brother Prophet Daniel was elevated as the third in command for his wisdom, his righteousness, and the ability to decipher the visions and the interpretations of dreams for the rulers of these empires. So family, all nations on the earth are blessed when we dwell in the midst of the heathen, and through our essence and spirit, we contribute wisdom, light, and understanding. All praises. So family, we will continue on with the evaluation and expounding of our intellect, both secular and spiritually, of the words and the escapades and the historical events of us, the 12 tribes of the house of Israel, brought here to the land of Babylon, the continent of confusion, which is Egypt, Sodom, the United States of America. All the praises. And family, continue to share and like these episodes as we expound on the expressway into eternity, so that more family may become aware of the light of our true identity, history, and heritage. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verses 6 through 9. For we are a holy people unto the Lord our God. The Lord our God has chosen us to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon us, nor choose us because we were more in number than any people, for we were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved us, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, has the Lord brought us out with a mighty hand and redeemed us out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Verse 9. Know therefore that the Lord our God, he is God, the faithful God, which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.